It's actually a really major turning point when you're in your 30s. You're peeling back all the layers of who you thought you had to be, all of societal expectations, and you're trying to figure out who you actually are.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Sisterhood Tea Party, where we keep it real about life, growth, and the chaos in between. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Jessica, and today's episode is for everyone navigating their 30s and wondering, is it just me, or is this decade giving quarter-life crisis vibes all over again?
We're calling it the Quarter Life Crisis 2.0 because whether you're 29 or 39, this season comes with its own identity shifts, glow ups, burnouts, and breakdowns. And we're talking about all of it. But before we get into it, let's get into what's top of mind for us this week. Jess?
Okay. I right now am into embracing the things that society tells you is not cool or lame. So I'm just trying to embrace this idea that we should be taking up space, especially right now. I need to take up all the space I can. So whether it is overdressing for family events, sorry, fam, I'm not showing up in a t-shirt anymore. I am going to be glammed because why not? And creating content, I feel like there's still this like stigma around creating content, which is so crazy to me because it is such an economic powerhouse and so many brands are using it. It makes no sense. And I don't know, I saw a video talking about how there's a bit of sexism behind that, which I agree with. So I'm all about it. And also being overly friendly to strangers. I don't know, not in like a fake way, but I'm looking at it as every single time I leave the house as an opportunity to make a friend. So if I like what you're wearing, I'm going to say something about it. If like your vibe, if I just want to talk about what just happened, I'm going to like talk to you. So sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but I'm taking up space. So that's what I'm all about right now. What about you?
I love that. Let's talk about that for a little bit because nobody talks about being overly friendly to strangers, given how we get bombarded with people who are just mean for no reason, and whether you're being hit on or things like that. But I like being able to see someone be like, hey, I love your outfit, or I love those glasses, or whatever, and just be able to have that conversation. Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
here for it. I'm here for it. Who knows how many friends I'm going to have by the time we have the next episode because I'm just like out
Hey,
there chatting it up.
I know, and I love that. And I feel like that's also part of your, you talked about this a while ago with your journey to making friends and having a big birthday event. This is how it starts. This is one part of it. So I love it.
Thanks, girl.
Of
I'm loving
course.
it. And I'll give a friend update soon, but I'm going to hold off right now.
Okay, I get that. All right. So for me, I've been thinking about transitioning back into group fitness classes. So I am trying to channel this new energy this time around. I've talked about this before where I was in group fitness classes working out and I really enjoyed them, but I was ready to do my own thing back at the gym. And now I'm in a place where, okay, we're, in the middle of Q3. So I'm going to transition back into what I've been doing before. So this time I'm utilizing ClassPass and I'm hopping around and trying out different places. And I stumbled upon one that I really like so far. Coaches are great. The people who attend are awesome too. And it's funny because it's really, really challenging, especially in your 30s, to be new somewhere to where you don't know anyone. And I'm not trying to like brag or anything, but I'm so used to being in spaces where I know people where it doesn't make me uncomfortable. So now being in a space where I don't know anybody and I don't really have those conversations, it's like, okay, like how can I try and make friends in this space? And how do I, fit in a space where I show up and people are friendly, all those things. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
I love that for you. I feel like last time we were together last, you were talking about maybe trying to get back into this. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited for you. And can we also just give a quick plug to ClassPass because I thought everybody knew about ClassPass, and I feel like a lot of people actually don't know about ClassPass, but it is such a great way to try new places without having to fully commit to something.
I agree with that. And honestly, they should sponsor us because we're both athletic girlies. We love to work out. We love to go to different places. So ClassPass, if you're listening, hit us up.
I exclusively use ClassPass, in fact. Like I'm not a cool, I'm gonna use it and then find my gym and then stick with my gym. Like I just use Class. I got an alert the other day because I hit some milestone for how many classes I'd booked on ClassPass, and I was like, ah, look at me go. I don't remember how many it was, but I was very proud of myself.
No, that's impressive though.
Yeah, so shout out ClassPass.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us right into today's topic because honestly, this is the energy of being in your 30s, figuring it out as you go, pivoting when you need to, and taking up space.
Yes. So let's start with the chaos because being in your 30s feels like you're kind of stuck in between I should know better and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, literally. One minute you're confidently paying off debt and meal prepping and doing all the adulting things. And then the next minute you are crying in your car over the lyrics from a Taylor Swift song. And yes, that might have been me yesterday.
Oh, that was me with Beyonce because I'm still on my Beyonce train. It's not really going to end. I still feel like depressed in a sense post Beyonce. It's hard because how am I supposed
Understandable.
to go back to life? Anyway, I could go on and on. Outside of that, you go to open Instagram and someone you barely knew from college, they just bought a house, they had twins, and they launched a business somehow all at the same time. And I'm over here figuring out how? How did this happen?
Yeah. And then you start questioning, right? You're like, am I behind? Am I doing too enough? Like, am I doing the wrong things? Am I the only one who still doesn't know what a Roth IRA is? Like, you're all over the place at that point when you see those things.
Yeah, agreed. And honestly, let's break it down here. Your 30s are when stuff starts hitting different. Your body, your friendships, boundaries, everything feels more real. And you start questioning what's actually yours and what you just absorbed.
Yeah, and it's not a meltdown. It's actually a really major turning point when you're in your 30s. You're peeling back all the layers of who you thought you had to be, all of societal expectations, all of maybe your close ones' expectations, and you're trying to figure out who you actually are and who you want to be for this next phase in your life. So let's talk about that pressure. And there's this unspoken rule that you're supposed to have it all figured out by now, whether it's marriage, career, your house, buying a home, friendships, all of this has to be thriving by time you're 30. And meanwhile, you might just be feeling like I'm just proud of the fact that I drank enough water today, which is real.
Hold on a second. Let me
Yeah,
grab my
on that
water.
note,
Drink up, everyone. But no, that's so true. And then the should start creeping in. I should be married. I should be further along. I should own something by now. But who even made those rules? And I feel like that's so relatable. I was thinking about this the other day because actually I was laughing about it because I remember having this thought of by 25, I'm going to be engaged. By 27, I'm married. By 29, I've had my first child and I'm in my career and I'm this, that, and the other. And I'm over here like, well, I'm 35 and I've been in transition right now because of layoffs and things are not happening. And I can't get a text back from a man because they're not menning right now. We're
mm,
back to square one, and it's okay. It's all right. But the comparison that comes behind that and the pressure to be at a certain place right now in your 30s, it does hit harder. And it's sometimes a little bit challenging to deal with.
yeah, I feel that. I also feel like it's not even just those milestones that are ingrained in you when you were a kid, right? That like you're going to do these things and it's what our parents did and da da da, right? But then there's also the new pressures that have come along with social media and seeing so much of people's lives. So you'll be watching someone post about their European honeymoon, their perfect morning routine, or all of these things that weren't even pressures when we were younger, but now are pressures that it means you have it all if you're doing all these things. And you're just at home like, I don't know what I'm eating for dinner tonight. What am I going to eat? I don't know.
Honestly, so real. We compare ourselves to people who live completely different lives. And that's just the reality of the situation. I'm looking at these people, it's like, wow, you have had a very different life. You grew up a different way. You live in a different town, city, state, country. That's just how it is. And they have access to different resources, different timelines, priorities. But that comparison trap that we mentioned earlier will steal your joy faster than anything. And it's just so important to remember not to fall into that.
There's actually a really interesting little sidebar here. There's an interesting conversation happening on social media right now about when influencers become out of touch. And I saw a video someone made. I don't remember the creator, but she was talking about Alex Earl. And I've never really followed Alex Earl, so I don't really know much about her other than she's like a very successful, famous TikToker.
Mhm.
But they were talking about how a lot of people now are saying, oh, she's so out of touch, she's so out of touch. And this creator was like, she was always super privileged. She was never poor. She was always rich. It's just different life stages now. And so you're seeing it. And I thought that was interesting because the fact that I think people thought that she was relatable when she was still like had a lot of resources that you and I don't have, you know? And the fact that people thought that it was that way is an exact example of like you are comparing yourself to someone who has a very different life and resources than you did. So even if she's out of touch now, she probably realistically was always out of touch with the reality of what you're facing.
Exactly. The difference is now she put a camera in front of it, right? And she's always had those opportunities. So I never understood that conversation. Well, she's not relatable anymore. She never was. And let's just be real. She never was. I've seen her content and I'm like, there's no way that this girl who lives in Florida and is living this life here, like could ever relate to somebody here. And I'm currently in Kansas. So small town girl and can't like, you're not going to relate to me. And we are not the
Yeah.
same, and that's okay. Now, if you like that content, that's wonderful, but don't try and compare yourself to
Yeah.
that.
Agree. Could you imagine if we were creating content when we were in college? Like it would have been like heading to work at JC Penney's. Oh, got off that
Oh,
shift. Now heading to IHOP to work that job. Like it just worked.
now hanging out, yeah, now hanging out at the library for the next 6 hours to study for my IO psych exam. Like what?
Literally.
What a time.
We would have ate though. We would have ate.
I feel like we would have started the trends. You know what? We missed an opportunity there. We did.
Yeah, we were just a little too before TikTok. But we're
We
here
could have
now.
hopped on. We are here now. We could have hopped on Vine. I feel like we would have done numbers on Vine.
Oh, I did post on Vine.
No, I did too. I'm just saying that I didn't capitalize as much, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
no.
I definitely had a Vine in my time.
When you had the opportunity, Jamie, literally, my husband, he was just giving me crap about this yesterday. He's like, I'm so mad at you that you deleted all your old Vines because when they like closed their app, you had the opportunity to like delete everything. And I was like, I don't want this permanent thing on the internet. I was so cringy. And he was so mad at me at the time. And he's still mad about it to this day, where he's like, do you remember that one Vine that we made at Worlds of Fun? And I was like, yes. And I would die if I saw that today.
Oh my gosh. I forgot. Yeah, I think I deleted my, although I did find some random ones saved on my phone. No.
Please repost them. I need to see the cringe.
Those will never see the light of day again, okay? If someone gets a hold of my phone, I am in trouble because they
No,
are so
really.
bad. They're so bad.
I think like the point of this is we cannot be comparing ourselves to people on the internet. And if we're not careful, we're going to start living by someone else's checklist or their life of what they or the things that they want. And we're going to forget that we get to define what a fulfilled life looks like for us individually.
Yes, agreed. So, what helps when you feel like you're floating? For me, it's owning the fact that you're allowed to just pivot, switch it up. Just because you picked a path does not mean you're stuck on it. I will live by that forever. Okay. And I talk about this all the time. Just because you picked a path does not mean you're stuck on it. And that was true to me when I was living in San Antonio and I was at a place where I had graduated from grad school. I was working at a job and I really loved it, but I knew that I needed more. I needed to grow. I needed to get into the next level of my career. And I could have stayed. I could have stayed at the university. I could have worked there for a number of years. And that would have been great, but I would have felt stuck in that moment. And I had to switch up. So you have to know when the time is to switch it up and move on to the next stage to elevate you.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much power with giving yourself permission in those situations, permission to change what you want to do, permission to change your mind, permission to rest, permission to outgrow people or places or jobs or situations, and permission to just want different things at your age now, at 33, at 35, at 36, whatever age you are, anytime compared to when you were 21, 22, 23. You're just going to want different things. And it's okay to give yourself permission to let those old things go to move forward into the next things.
Absolutely. And when you do move forward, normalize needing help. Therapy, coaching, career changes,
Mm.
friendship shifts, any of those, they're all part of your growth. You don't have to deal with all of that when you are working your way through life to prove something. So take advantage of those opportunities and take advantage of those resources.
Yeah, and slow progress still counts. That one small thing that you did today, it adds up, even if all you did was shower. Some days it's just what can I get done? Even if it's just apply to one job. Maybe it's just unfollow someone toxic and celebrating that. I will say for me today, I did not want to get out of bed today. I did not want to get ready today. I did not want to do any of that. And when I'm in these moods, that's usually when I start my day off not super healthy. And I'm like, I'm just going to DoorDash McDonald's, which is like ridiculous. And I literally, you know what? I woke up this morning and said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't let myself down. And so I didn't. And that was my win. I didn't end up doing my whole extensions today because didn't have that much energy, but I did not order McDonald's. And I was proud of myself for that.
That's absolutely a win. Okay. For me, it was just getting out of bed today. But knowing that I had a few other things to do, but I had to get up and I was going to knock out all of these things before the couple of things I had to actually do today was a win. And we
Yeah.
have to celebrate it. We talk about it all the time. Celebrate those small wins. That is so important. And, leading into that, the best thing you can do in your 30s is to also stay curious. So keep checking in with yourself and ask, what do I need in this season? And then be brave enough to honor her. I ask myself that all the time. And I talk about this when I teach my spin classes. I will always ask people, what is your why? What is your reason? What do you need for yourself to elevate, to grow? And what does that look like? And then you have to now then take that next step and honor it. Take that next step and make those changes because you are in control of how parts of your life and of how parts of that life that you want will go.
100%. And I think what you're getting at here is a mindset shift, right? So let's rapid fire some mindset shifts that helped us navigate this whole quarter life 2.0 energy.
Yes. Life isn't linear. There's no timeline or no race at all. So things will just go as they plan. Every day is a new day, and you have to learn to shift and go with things. And that's okay. Your 30s also are not just about settling down, they're about expanding. So look at how your life is right now. How can you elevate it? Like I just talked about, how can you elevate it? What does it look like to have a more fulfilled part of your 30s? Because in my opinion, 30s are the best years right now.
Yes.
So how can we live in that? And I feel like you and I are doing a great job at making sure we are living the most fulfilled life we can right now.
1000%. Take up space, right? You're expanding.
Take up
Take up the
space.
space that you deserve.
Yes, yes, exactly. And number 3, it's okay to not know. Certainty is overrated. And I agree with this. I think thinking about in certain spaces I've been in where I had to know everything. And if not, I felt like I was failing, felt like, oh, I'm not good enough. And that's simply not the case. I actually think I get more respect when I'm honest and say, you know what, that's a great question. I don't know, but I'll find the resource for you or I'll help you research, who may know this answer or something. I think that's completely okay. You don't have to know it all. Okay. Remember that.
And as someone who is usually like, I'm a very solution oriented person. If someone tells me a problem, I'm immediately like, okay, how can we solve it? And I think there is some beauty and I don't even know how to explain it, but there's like something that comes with sitting in that uncertainty, right? When I'm in a moment where I'm like, I'm not like where I want to be in my career or in my friendships yet and all of these things, I'm like, why am I looking at that in state? This weird middle ground, this uncertainty that I'm not there yet, the process, that part is actually like, how can I bring more joy to that and be okay with that? I don't have to have the solution to everything. If I know where I'm going, I'm going to get there at some point in some way. And it's okay not to know all the answers yet.
You can reinvent yourself at any time. And I think that's also another wonderful reminder. Take up the space. If something's not going the way that you want, okay, sit down, reevaluate, and say, okay, what do I need now to pivot to switch up my life a little bit? What do I need to elevate? And just do that. I don't think you have to stay the same. And you honestly should not stay the same. You really should allow for yourself to evolve, find out things that interest you. I think that makes us human and that makes us more complex in that space. And then finally, you are not behind, you're just becoming.
I love that. That's like my favorite thing is like you are becoming her.
Mhm.
That's my favorite. Yeah, and just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Keep going. You're building something even if it's not visible yet. We talk about this all the time with like content creation, right? Like just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It could be any video, right? It could be any trip out that you're going to run into somebody and they're going to become your best friend, right? Like it could be any networking opportunity, any networking event that you go to suddenly becomes the job that like your new job, right? So it could be anything. It's going to happen.
Exactly. Like I always say, it only takes one. It only takes
Hmm.
one thing to catapult into something that can be great. So now that we've unpacked the emotional roller coaster of your 30s, let's lighten up things just a little bit.
Yes, because we can't be deep all the time. It's not that serious. Sometimes you just need to have fun with it. So it's time for.
Overrated or underrated 30s edition. So y'all know the drill. I have a few things and we're just going to say whether they're overrated or underrated. And we've probably talked about some of these before, but it's always nice to revisit because you never know, things change. Okay. So, number one, saying no without a reason. Overrated or underrated? Jess.
I'm going to say underrated, but I will say this is really hard to do in person for me personally. So I had an incident this week. I posted about this on TikTok, but um so my husband plays softball on a co-ed softball team on Tuesday nights, and I go and watch his games sometimes. And so we are on the way to the game, and somebody texts in the chat, in their group chat, and says, "Hey, I have a sick kid. I can't make it tonight." First of all, was your kid not sick all day? You're texting 45 minutes before the game is supposed to start, but that's not my business. So we didn't know if it was like who it was. And our assumption, which in hindsight maybe, was a little sexist to assume this, we thought it was one of the girls on the team with a sick kid at home. And so Jamie was like, "Do you think you could play?" Do I look like someone who plays softball? Do I look like I have any interest in playing softball?
Hey, listen, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have never heard you use the words soft and ball in the same sentence. So I wouldn't have even guessed that at all.
Literally. So I'm like pissed. I'm like, if we'd gotten this text message 10 minutes earlier, I would not be in this car to go to the game right now. Sorry, I couldn't make it. And so I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? I'm not playing. If they ask me to play, I'm not playing. And I'm like, okay, no is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. I can just say no. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if it comes down to Jessica, can you play? Otherwise, we have to forfeit the game. I'm going to feel so guilty that I wasn't able to sub. So I was in such a panic about it. It turned out it was fine. It ended up actually being a guy who had texted that. They had an extra guy. It was all fine. But I was stressing. And so I posted on TikTok about it. And some people were like, just say you don't want to. Just say no. And I'm like, you're right. I should just say no. And it's fine. But in my head, I'm thinking I got to come up with 7 different lies for why I can't play. Oh my God, I still get anxiety, but I was so mad. I was like, maybe I need to take a work call in the car. Sorry. I don't know.
That's
So yeah.
so stressful. And it's funny because I've heard people be like, just say it, just say no, just say no. Yes, in theory, absolutely. But when you're faced head on and it's like game time, you're like, I don't know how to say no and just say no versus no because you know what I mean? So I
Yes.
feel like I agree that it's also underrated. I'm getting better about saying no and just leaving it as is. It's easier than in text, obviously,
Yes. I
than
can
it
do it
is
in
in
text all
person.
day.
Yeah.
Text all day.
No,
In
but
person,
yeah.
I feel
No, thank
guilty.
you. Right. I'm like, no, thank you. Have a great
Yeah.
day. But yeah, I agree. In person, it's like, no, I really appreciate it. And then I start to over explain. It's like, oop, girl, pause because now you're making excuses. And now it sounds like you're just trying to get out of it when you just straight up don't want to do it. So I think we both can challenge ourselves this month and next. I mean, honestly, in the rest of the year, will we just say no and move on with our lives?
Yeah. I love that. I may be texting you if I'm like shaking after I do it.
Be like,
It's a good
just say no,
challenge.
just say no. Okay, next, solo travel, dates, dinners, all the things. Overrated or underrated? I'll take this one. Super underrated. I've talked about this before, but I am starting a new little solo date series for myself. I haven't talked about this yet on social media. Actually recorded a draft, have not posted said draft because I didn't like the way that I looked in the draft. So I'm just going to re-record it, but I have the concept of it. And I'll explain it here first. What I'm trying to do is every other week right now to take myself out somewhere, whether it's to dinner, sit at a bar, go to a coffee shop, work remotely, something, just be out of the house every other week. I could do this weekly, sure, but the idea behind it is to have intentional time to go out to take up space for myself and be out there no matter what I'm doing. I think it's super underrated and I'm excited to go on my next little adventure because it's going to be this coming week that I'll go.
Yay. I cannot wait to see the content. Post the
Oh, yes,
content.
yes. I will. I will. The first one I did was it 2 weeks ago? Last week? Yeah, it must have been last week. And I ended up taking myself to dinner, sat at the bar, super chill vibes, one of my favorite bars. Yes. And I ended up having conversations with the bartender. She was super cool. And then there was a guy that was sitting next to me and him and I talked for a little bit. But yeah, it was great. So that's the energy that I'm doing, is putting myself out there a little bit more, because yes, in part one, I want to do this for myself because it feels good, but also I've talked about this before, the dating apps really, really suck. And I have to put myself out there a little bit more. And I know that. So that's what I'm doing. And we're going to see how it goes. I will report back in a few months with my findings, I guess.
I love that. And document along the way. I can't wait.
I will. I will. I need to be better about documenting. So I need you to hold me a little bit accountable for that.
I got you. I'll send you that weekly text. I haven't seen any solo content this week. What's going on?
Right, right.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I will say underrated as well. I love doing things solo. I love going to get a cute little coffee. I love going to a yoga class. I love uh traveling solo. I'm just like in my element and my vibe. I love a hotel room solo. It's just good for the soul. I challenge anyone who doesn't enjoy doing things solo to do it more, because you probably need it the most. Because
Hmm.
and I don't mean this in a judgment way. I like truly think that if you can't sit with yourself and enjoy your company, then like there's something to unpack there, and you're going to probably fall in love with yourself more if you push yourself to do those things. And it makes you more selective about the people you do spend time with, because if I can have a great time by myself, I'm not going to let you bring me down, you know? I'm only going to invite people in my space that are going to add to that joy and be as fun as I am by myself. So, I'm a big fan.
I agree with that. Okay. Next, having less but deeper friendships, overrated or underrated? What are your thoughts?
I think it is appropriately rated. And I think it's because it depends on the season that you're in. I think that in an ideal world, I would always have less but deeper friendships, because I think the depth is important. But I don't think that's the reality. And I think it's okay to have also some compartmentalized friends you do certain things with. And just because the reality is you and another person are likely not always going to have the same schedule, you're not always going to have this exact same interests, right? All of these things. And so it's nice to also have those friends that maybe you just connect on one dimension with. And I think that's a switch up for me, because I think if you would have asked me this like a year ago, I would have said less but deeper friends. But I think that can also close you off to being open to having some of those more compartmentalized friends. So I think it depends on your season, and I think it's okay to have both. And so I'd say appropriately rated.
I agree. I would also say appropriately rated. To that point, I think it's important to have levels in your friendships, because yes, I do have friends that I can tell everything. I have friends that I tell some things, and I have friends that are very much acquaintances. And I think a lot
Mm,
of people would know that when it comes to celebrations, I'll use my birthday as an example, that I'll have a group of people that are there. Now, I get all the time, you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of friends. Sure. Yes, I do. But I'm very particular about the people that I allow in my life. And I think there are specific friends that I have that I can tell anything to. I have friends that I do certain things, like to your point, I have friends that know specific parts of my life. And I think I like it that way. I think it's also good to not give everybody all of your access at the same time. And I think
mm.
that's where that you have to balance where that is in your friendship. I don't want anybody to get offended by that. There's good reason for that. That's something that I would unpack on a different day, but that's where I'm at with that. Is I think yes, it's great to have these deep friendships, and I do feel like I do have several deep friendships, but it's also important to have levels and dimensions of your friendships where you do have friends in all different spectrums, I guess, if that makes sense.
100%. Could not agree more.
Wonderful. Okay, next, going to bed early. Overrated or underrated? Girl, I don't know. In a perfect world, I would love to say that it is underrated, but I can't say that. So, appropriately rated. I can't
Shocked.
say that.
Shook.
Everybody's shocked, but that's the thing, because I don't go to bed early, so I can't say that. I don't know. I think it's appropriately rated. I think when I'm able to get to bed early, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's great. But in the same breath, I get up early, so I'm like, what was that? I don't sleep in. I'm not somebody who sleeps in. I
Okay,
go to
wait,
bed late and
define
I
early. Define early versus like normal.
okay.
Am I
Me
gonna
going to
expose
bed
you?
yeah, that's fine. That we exposed on this podcast. Early for me is if I can be in bed. Okay, let me do this. If I'm in bed by 9, I could be asleep between 9:30 and 10. That's early for me. That's early. That's calling it a wonderful day. Now, because I teach spin classes very early, on specific days, I try to do a little bit earlier. So that's like the outlier. I'm not even counting that. Just like in a normal week, getting in bed by 9, asleep between 9:30 and 10 is ideal. Reality is my ass does not get into bed until and honestly, I could probably still be in bed by 9:30. That's not the issue. Getting into bed is not the issue. Falling asleep and going to sleep is the issue. Late is 11:30, midnight, 12:30. That's just and I'm just vibing sometimes. And those are some bad habits I need to break.
What are you vibing on? What are you like? Are you watching TV? Are you on your phone? Are you just listening to music? Are you just like
It's
staring at the
honestly
ceiling
just looking up. Not a whole
in your
lot going on
head?
in my yes. So it's a combination of those things. Sometimes I'm listening to music. Sometimes I'm catching up on episodes that I've missed from whatever show. So I'm watching those late. Sometimes I'm scrolling. But yeah, to that other point, sometimes I'm just so tired that I will come back from whatever I'm doing, do my skincare, do what I need to, and go straight to bed. So it varies, but my goal also for this month is to switch up on that and get a little bit more consistent on my actual bedtime. So, not necessarily early, but not late. So, kind of like a nicer in between, like 10:30 would be my ideal and trying to be consistent to that. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. I already know what you're going to go ahead and say. So, what do you think? Is it overrated or underrated, Jess?
So I think it's super underrated. I have not been doing it lately. For a while, I haven't been doing it. I you know when you know there's like something about yourself that you need to work on that you're just
Yes.
like I'm not ready to commit to that goal yet, but it's going to bite me in the ass soon and I'm not going to have a choice. That is for me going to bed early. I used to go to bed at 8:30. Like lay in bed at 8:30 and by 9 I'm passed out.
8:30 is wow, what a dream. That was like school night for me.
Yeah. Well, so I will say I wasn't always healthy though, right? Because I wasn't doing anything in the evenings. I was just going to bed. And so last summer was when I really started working out consistently and I was started working on the evenings. And so of course that made it so I'm up later, I'm not eating until later, like all of these things happen later. But now I've gotten to the point where I'm on social media way too much. I'm Love Island's keeping me up at night. You know, I got to debrief afterwards. I know it'll be over by the time this airs, but all those things. And so I have not been going to bed early. So I know I need to. I don't think I'll ever get back to 8:30 again, but like this 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock stuff has just not been good for me. And so I'm thinking at the end of summer, that's when I'll set that goal because it's summer. I don't have time to be sleeping.
That you know what? That's exactly where I'm at right now. And because I'm still in transition, by the time this airs, I will have a new job. I'm just going to go ahead and claim that right now. So while I'm
Yes.
like still in this like fun employment, it's been really challenging for me to be incentivized to go to bed because I don't need to get up early.
For
Okay? I
what?
get up, go to exactly. I get up, go to the gym, and then I apply for jobs or interview depending on what the day is.
Yeah.
So that's
Brat summer.
also it's brat summer. It's brat summer. It's Beyonce summer. It's still a hot girl summer. Okay.
Hot
It's
girls.
all the summers. It's all the things. Okay. It's also a fun employment summer. So that's where I'm at too.
Hell
But like
yeah.
I said,
Hell yeah.
by the time this airs, okay, your girl has a new job. So more to come on that. But that's just the reality. Okay. That's the truth. Last one, shopping for skincare instead of clothing. Overrated or underrated? Hmm. That's a great one. But, ooh, I like clothes. You know, y'all know how I feel about Old Navy, but also but I also love my skincare routine. I don't know. I think in a perfect world, I would say underrated, but I'm gonna say appropriately rated. I think because I love both of them equally, that I can't really like say one is because they're great for different. They're obviously different things, but I love skincare because I've been really, really sticking to it lately. That's one thing I'm very proud of is that I have a skincare routine. I've stuck to it. I had taken a lot of time to experiment with certain products to kind of see sensitivity and things like that. So now that I've found things, I'm just sticking to it. And then with
Mhm.
clothing, I've been trying to also experiment with my wardrobe and see what I like and trying to elevate my style. Being in my mid 30s, I can't be wearing the things that I was wearing at 25. I want to look put together, polished, but still look cute and still have like kind of a sexy vibe too. But there are all these things. I've been experimenting with different styles and different pieces. So I don't know. I think it's appropriately rated. What do you think?
I think it's underrated. I shop for skincare way more than I shop for clothes. So I don't like shopping in person for anything.
Hmm.
Like,
Fair.
I like the challenges for clothes you have to try it on, which is annoying to me, and I hate doing refunds, but it is what it is because it's usually what I do. I usually just shop online for everything. And I am a sucker for skincare stuff. Like if there's a TikTok ad about a new trending skincare product, I am buying it. Usually not the first time I see the ad, but if I've seen the ad like 7 times with multiple people having great results, I'm probably clicking buy. So yeah, I just buy more of that. I do buy clothes too though, but I tend to buy clothes for occasions. That's when I start spending money on clothes, and then I'll usually like buy more than I truly need for that occasion, so then I have like some extra stuff. But I'm not one to just like on a Monday be like, maybe I'll just see what's for sale today. I'm not like that. Whereas skincare, I'm like, I need to plan my whole trip to Ulta Beauty, like it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, see, and you know what? That's why we're opposites, and that's cool because I am like that. On a random Monday, I'm like, let me pull up at Old Navy and see what thing they've marked down on clearance so I can go check it out. I'm not ashamed. Okay, I'm not ashamed.
You shouldn't be. I wish I was, because then when I do, this is why I buy so much for trips and stuff, because I'm like, shoot, I don't have anything to wear. Now I have to go buy all these things because I don't just go on the random Monday to just buy something. So it's like a whole thing if I'm going somewhere.
I feel that, but at the same time, I also want to keep buying skincare too. And then I struggle because it's expensive, but clothing also is
It is.
expensive. So I'm like, everything's expensive. I just don't know.
If I made a video about this, so the amount of money I spent at Ulta and Sephora this past week was disgusting, but it's all things I needed. It wasn't
Right.
frivolous. I literally use every single one of the products that I bought. So it's just part of, I'm just a girl. I'm just a
I'm just a
girl.
girl. It's girlhood. You know what I mean?
Girlhood.
I love it. Well, friends, if this episode hit home for you, just know you are not alone. Quarter Life Crisis 2.0 is real, but it's not the end, it's an invitation.
An invitation to reintroduce yourself, to say, this is who I am now, to let go of timelines and trust that you're exactly where you need to be, even if it's messy or unclear.
Yes, and like we mentioned before, you're not behind, you're just becoming. And if nobody told you this week, you are doing better than you think. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to take up space. We've said this time and time again, take up space. And you are allowed to start again.
And that is the tea. So if this episode made you feel seen, send it to a friend who's also figuring it out and tag us when you're listening. Our socials are at Sisterhood Tea Party on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
And please take a few moments to leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. It helps us grow and it means the world to us.
So take care of yourselves, sisters, and we'll see you next week.